Hello everyone, welcome to Driver Lineup, the YouTube channel. I'm Eric. Starting this one out a little bit different, not with the normal steering wheel holder and all that good stuff. I'm having a very transparent, humbling experience right now that I just don't want to put off any further. It was expedited this evening because of it. Look, first of all, this video is going to be a little bit lengthy and it's going to be slow because I'm trying to think my way through it, and so I apologize for that. It's not going to be fast, not going to be pithy, but bear with me. I think a lot of you are really going to relate. In fact, I know a lot of you are really going to relate to what I have to say here, and I want to say it the way that I'm going to say it because, as our longtime subscribers know, Jenna and I have always tried to be as open and transparent with everyone as possible. And it's just time to come out and say it. I kind of alluded to some of it in the last video, and I just want to say it. So we're just going to get, the reason it's been expedited today is because it was brought to my attention that a couple, we'll say individuals who sour grapes, or they're just really slimy individuals. If I said who these people are, some of you would be like, oh yeah, really slimy people who just want to go out and tear up and damage other people. Started some rumors and stuff today. And this is not new for our channel. It doesn't super get under my skin. You guys know that like 2 years ago, because we were offline, we didn't make videos for like 2 weeks because the truck was in the shop and everything. This is while I was still driving a truck. Someone said that I was in jail. So it's, and of course, so, there's always going to be people out there saying things, but some of the stuff that was said today just really kind of like, okay, even though this is a really slimy individual making these claims, we got to get out there and explain why we're not making content right now, why we're not doing podcasts and all of those things. And, I just wanted to, I remember the moments that I remember the most about trucking, or my YouTubing ride in trucking, was when we were the most, just as much as it hurt to say it, the most honest. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Now it is Easter. It is Easter evening. So it's kind of a bummer video. It just is what it is. I know what Easter is. I believe it to be what it is. I was able to be with my family today, and that makes me extremely happy. I hope all of you were. If you were out on the road and you're watching this on Easter evening, hopefully you had a happy Easter as best as you could. If you're watching this after Easter, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I just wanted to get this out. So as the title suggests, the truth is going to hurt. And here's the truth. As I said in the last video, things have not been roses and unicorns for us. And I know that there's going to be some comments that say, oh, well, you should have done this differently and you should have done that differently and you shouldn't have made that decision. Yeah, there's a lot of shouldas and a lot of shouldn't haves. I already know that. If you're going to just try to leave comments, digging at us or making accusations, don't do that. It's not even worth your time, because here's the reality. And the reality is the world that we're all in right now has caught up with us, just like it has many of you. And it just is what it is. A year ago, when we came off the road, I want to say it was about a year ago. It was a little bit more than a year ago, I think, that Jen and I stopped driving because, it was, of course, because our son is almost a year old. So it was a little bit more than a year ago. So when he was born, I wanted to be there for that. And then I just did not want to be out on the road. I just couldn't. I was fine being full-time OTR before I had a son. Now that I have a son, I cannot do that. I cannot be away from him. I want to be as involved in his life as possible. And so continuing full-time OTR was just not an option. It was not something feasible for me to do. So we came off the road and continued running a fleet of lease purchase trucks. So we have 3 trucks that were running when we came off the road. And at the time financially, we'd done really well while we were trucking. We had money set aside. We had e-funds set aside. We had referrals that were going crazy at the time. A lot of you remember back in the day when there were a lot of new hires, and we've not hidden this at all. We've been very transparent about this on our YouTube channel. Referral money has always been there when the economy's cranking and there's tons of hiring. So we had tons of referral money. Crypto was really, really strong at the time. And we were getting into, I was able to use a lot of my creative side and go do a lot of really cool stuff in crypto. And just, everything was popping, right? And really about 6 months ago, now we'd had some friends about 6 months ago that actually we have a lot of friends that about 6 months ago or a little bit longer, actually about a year ago, a lot of them started to tell us about things that they're going through in their lives. And Jen and I just felt very blessed. We were like, oh my goodness, like we can't imagine having to go through that. Well, 6 months ago, we began to feel that pinch pretty hard. We had moved to San Antonio. We were renting a house and they didn't allow very long leases. Well, after that 6-month lease, they basically came back and said, hey, it's very likely this is going through the roof. And, it was just a really ugly situation. So we had to very quickly get out of that. So we were able to find a place that we could get into, which is the house that we currently have. But, look, it just is what it is. I know Lyle, No Hippie and Trucking, is probably just chomping at the bits right now because he's so heavily, involved in real estate. Well, I'll tell you, we probably did not, we financed our house at probably the worst time for probably the worst deal that you could finance a house for. So, but it was like either go just sky high rent or go this route, and ended up needing a lot of work. And we still haven't finished all that work because we can't afford to do that, which is what I'm talking about here. So Lyle, I know you don't have to, I'm sure you'll still text Jenna, but which is still funny. We know we financed a house at probably the worst time possible, under probably some of the worst terms possible, but it is what it is. And so that kind of began this oh shit time for us, where we just needed not a super strong economy, but we just needed the trucking company to just, we just needed it to do somewhat decent. And for any of you who've been out there on the road, especially dry van and spot market for the past 6 months, what's happening in the freight industry. You're well aware. I was just listening to an analyst 2 or 3 days ago, just delivering devastating news about the freight market. And I talked to somebody at Prime on the phone. I'm not going to say who it was. He definitely would not want me to say who it was or who it is. But I talked to somebody who's, we'll just say this person's in the know about internal conversations and freight industry concerns and things that are happening with Prime. And keep in mind, Prime, for those of you who don't drive for Prime, Prime is the largest refrigerated fleet in the United States. And I was basically told that the expectation is this freight recession is going to continue for at minimum of 9 months, meaning they don't really anticipate that this freight recession, which is what it's kind of unofficially being called, is going to get any better this summer, or at least not a lot better this summer, which in past cycles, it has always gotten better in the summer. Maybe not great, but it's gotten better in the summer, right? Well, that is not likely. So we've just gone through this 6-month period, which was terrible for the trucking industry. And it doesn't really, there's not really a lot of hope for, like the near term is it's just ugly, guys. It's just ugly. To put it into perspective, in follow up to my last video, Jenna and I have not received any revenue, any profit from running trucks for Prime Inc. this year. To put that, just think about that. This year, we are in April, and we have not netted any profit on our trucks this year. Now, combine that with the fact that money we invested in crypto and everything we had going on in crypto has also tanked. A lot of people have lost money in fiat stock markets. Fortunately, we're not in fiat stock markets or anything like that. And so money that we had set aside for if it was a rainy day, rainy weeks or whatever, etc., has had either evaporated through a lot of that or was used to get us through these tough times. And, so we really had, like so many of you, done all the things that we should have done, right? We had money set aside for a rainy day, which traditionally over the years, when times were really tough in trucking through winters or something like that, as long as you were able to get through that winter, there was going to be sunshine on the other side. It was going to be a beautiful valley, right? Well, we did all those things. And unfortunately, the times that we're in, it just wasn't, it just hasn't been, just hasn't worked out, the way that we'd hoped. So the truth is, while the reason we haven't made content for this channel and the reason we haven't made podcasts, and believe me, we get messages every single day from longtime subscribers going, where are you? Are you okay? Why are you not making content? We are basically on, the verge, like we're right there on bankruptcy. That is the reality of our lives. So if you're out there living week to week, just trying to figure out how to put food on the table and how to make your car payment. I just made a late car payment. We're right there with you. Okay. I don't want to pretend in this channel that our lives that we're living are something that they're not. That's not something we've ever wanted. That's not something we've ever done. So if you feel the pain that so many of us are going through right now, not just in America, but around the world, of having to just grind just to get by paycheck to paycheck, believe me, I am there with you. I know how it feels. It is terrible. And when you're going through the process that I'm going through, not only do you not really have anything, if you do have anything, you can't do anything with it. Y'all know what I mean. So it is a really, really tough. It's just a tough time right now. And like I said in my last video, it's hard for us. Like, we don't want to just get on here every day and talk about the trucking industry when the trucking industry is going through devastation. We don't want to get on here and talk about the potential for prosperity and all that good stuff when we've spent the whole winter just trying to make it through. One of our trucks has been sitting for, I think, 6 weeks or longer. And we have a driver on the way to that truck, which, by the way, all of our drivers, are happy. They leave for different reasons. One had a baby and there was some other, but they're happy. We have 2 drivers right now that are extremely happy. We have another driver on the way to pick up a truck. So drivers are being paid. Don't think that because I said the word bankrupt, the drivers aren't being paid or anything like that. They're very happy. And we're happy that they're being paid well and that they're out there running. So it's probably if you're thinking about being a company driver, this is probably a great time for it because there is some security in that and our drivers will vouch for that. But it's, I don't want, I just don't want to give the impression that if you get in and you dedicate and you learn the trade and you become very good at it, that you can't be broadsided, because we're proof that you can. And for those of you out there going through it right now, if you're not going through what I'm going through and what I think a lot of people are, then count yourself very fortunate. And I implore you to make some adjustments, whatever you need to do, to try and hedge and try and be as ready and prepared for getting hit in the side of the head with a board, because it can happen, and it just changes everything just like that. And all of a sudden, when you're starting processes and you're starting this and you're like, okay, we have to do this, and we can't. It's an ugly, and a lot of you have been through this before. And it's just an ugly, ugly situation. Again, anything you have, you can't have, and you don't really have anything anyway. I mean, that's kind of, that's where I'm at. So, I know it's been said that I can go out and drive one of the trucks. In fact, Jenna and I talked about that a week or two ago. I just can't be away from my son. So I've been doing some contract work, here and there as I can. And, that's kind of helping us survive and get through it. Just barely getting through. Again, we have not been paid a penny from Prime this year. So, and our trucks are now getting running, so hopefully that's going to help with it a little bit. But it's just, how do you come onto YouTube? How do you come into any conversation and say, hey, all these years you've watched when we've been able to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and we've been able to do this, and we've been able to do that, and we've been able to build a fleet. And then all of a sudden, hey, it's all collapsing. Like we're now going through what so many others are going through, and the economy's caught up to us, and we didn't skate through it unscathed. How do you talk about that? How do you go on YouTube and talk about that? How do you have a podcast and talk about that? It's difficult. It's extremely difficult for me and humbling for me as a father and as a dad to, your family has to go through that with you. My wife and my child have to go through that with me, and that's just a humbling, difficult experience to go through. So, no, there's not anything crazy out there. There's drivers saying that we told referrals that they were going to get part of our referrals if they came. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Have one referral that we've made to Prime tell you that we promised them something. We talk to many of our referrals all the time, who are grateful, many who've left Prime, but who are grateful for the recommendation that they made, because maybe they're not making as much money as they were, but they are actually running and at least making some money and barely keeping it, at least keeping their head above water. So the rumors out there, you guys, the rumors are crazy. Like, rumors are toxic. And, there's not anything nuts or crazy happening. It's just that we are trying to get through life just like everybody else. So I think about, should I share more of this on YouTube? Should I make more videos about this? And in fact, I was talking to Jenna today about it okay, well, maybe this moment of humility is what I need to be able to get back into making content and just being open about it. Like, that maybe this is maybe this is what I need, because if I cannot make videos, if I can't talk about what I'm talking to you about right now in this video, then it's impossible for me to make videos, because I can't just come on here every day and say, hey, I think the trucking market sucks. And I can't come on here and say, if you go drive a truck right now, it's going to be golden for you, because that's not what you want to hear. But maybe I can make videos of, hey, I have to start all over. I got to start all over. Just like many of you, I have to figure life out, and I have to go through these challenges of having virtually, literally nothing, and, figuring out how to pay the bills and get back up on my feet and keep my company afloat, and, rebuild in really tough times. Maybe if that's what you'd like to see, then let us know. Let me know in the comments. Maybe that's what it is. And that's part of why I wanted to do this video. Cause I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, first of all, I was really pissed off that someone went out there and poisoned the well and started dropping these rumors out there when they have no effing clue what they're talking about and are just making shit up. There was some talk about something that we never refunded. Well, we tried to refund everyone on cards. We used to sell shirts, hoodies, and all that stuff. Everybody who's ordered an article of clothing off Driver Lineup has gotten it. The only problem we had was some logistics, was some trading cards that we wanted to do. And we refunded almost everybody that we could. JDQ Transportation said that his debit card was closed or something, so he couldn't get his refund. And he was like, just give it to the baby. But, like people out there saying that there's just so much stuff being said. And it's like, okay, I've got to get on there and I can't just let someone else tell their truth. As if we're like on a yacht somewhere. We have unfinished bathroom floors. Okay. We're living paycheck to paycheck. I'm having to do contract work every day. We're going through a process, excuse me, right now, that is terrible. A lot of you have been through this kind of process before. You know how terrible it is. And you know what it means for you. You know what it means for the few things you have. And you know what it means, the toll that it takes on you mentally and financially to go through what we're going through right now. And if anything, here's what I would say to you. And Jen and I communicate with a lot of people all the time. Well, we can't as much anymore just because we're just, again, we're out there just cranking and trying to stay afloat. But, we certainly have a lot of drivers and a lot of people. We have big community that reaches out to us, and know that if you're going through this kind of thing, you are not alone. I'm going through it, and there are many other people going through it right now, and it sucks. So, all you can do is just put your best foot forward and strive ahead. As far as the crypto project, there's lots of complexities with that. My own crypto portfolio got wiped over the last year, as many of you know. If you're out there in crypto, or again, fiat. Like I see these comments all the time of, it's stupid for anyone to buy into Bitcoin or whatever, a year ago and hold it all this time. Well, it was stupid to have your money in a bank over in California, or any one of these number of banks that are collapsing and lose all, just like, it's just all around, and just the double whammy for me is anything attached to you or associated to you when you're going through the kind of process that I'm going through, your whole life gets your whole life just gets bounded up and you can't. Anyway, so yeah, eventually when we get our footing and figure out, how to get some breathing room, I think that we will certainly be interested in putting up new types of content of just rebuilding and starting from scratch. And it just gets a big weight off of my shoulders to finally just be like, look, guys, I know we went through from having this several years of making videos every single day, and then have made like one or two videos this year, in 2023, and it's Easter today. But this is why, it's just been a gnarly, tough winter. And how do you come out and say, well, folks, hey, it's Eric with Driver Lineup, and boy, I'm just financially devastated. It's really tough. But like I said, again, some of the moments that I remember the most and that mean the most, and that many of you talk with us the most about, are the times where we can relate when we go back years and had these moments of just, hey, we got to be honest with you all, and this is kind of what we're going through. And it's those times where so many of you are like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. I've felt that. So, and again, I know a lot do. We see it in the comments, and we see it and those of you who know us personally and are friends with us, which is many of you, who reach out and are telling us the things that you're going through in life. We just know that it's kind of just out there. But, the world has gone through many tough times before. The United States has gone through many tough times before. We're not yet in line for rationed $7 per gallon gas, although it doesn't feel like we're far from it sometimes. And, society has gotten through it. And Easter Day is just a perfect reminder that there are things bigger than us always at play around the world, and that can't be forgotten. So maybe that's why also doing this video here today. So anyway, if you see any of that poison in a well out there, look, in the future, I'm probably going to out some of these people, because it's just gone on, and they're just toxic, poisonous people. I don't know. I've not made it a practice of doing it here on the channel. But when someone's out there slandering you and, being libelous about you, it's kind of hard sometimes to just let that go. But then again, I don't know, it's people on YouTube. But I hope all of you are doing really well. I really do. I miss doing content. There are so many things that I wish that I could be doing creatively that I love doing the most. In the crypto world, that was when I had the time and was able to focus and dedicate to it, which right now I can't, because I'm just trying to get the bills paid. Those are some of the happiest times. I love creating content and making videos, and I just can't. I don't have time for it, A, and B, I just don't know what to say when I'm going through what I'm going through. So I don't know, maybe that answers the question. At the end of the day, it can be tough out there. And I know that it's not just the trucking industry, of course. Here, there are lots of small businesses closing down. There are a lot of people losing their businesses, and it's sad. It's sad to see that, but I also believe that there is a time where it will improve and get better, because this has happened many times in history. And it just as some of you know, it sucks when it gets a hold of you, and you get kind of taken into the ditch with it. So anyway, that's where we've been. That's why there hasn't been a lot of content. Hopefully that helps answer the question. Be safe, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. make good decisions and make more good decisions, because sometimes those good decisions won't be good enough. And as always, drive to thrive. Check in with you soon.